Am I not black enough now? I'm not an African-American. I'm an American.
All right, y'all. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you're tuning in. I'm grateful to have you here. And supposedly school is in session. We got some more Trump versus liberal action. I'm here for it, and I'll give my biblical breakdown towards the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Let's get it popping.
Do you hear the stupid questions you say sometimes?
I don't think it's stupid to try to get him a date.
Yeah, we're actually here trying to get me a date. Hey, you want to go?
I'm not into maggots, so no thank you.
I'm a maggot? Is it because I'm black?
No. Really, you're going to play the black card with me.
Why is he a maggot?
A maggot is a Trump supporter. He's a maggot.
So Trump supporters are maggots? That's interesting. Why is that?
Because you're supporting a orange in the office who is defunding Medicare, a lot of insurances, a lot of even food stamps.
He's defunding food stamps? You know, that was actually Ben Carson that was slashing the food stamp budget.
Ben
Carson's actually a black guy.
Just because he's black, just like you, does not mean that he fights for the cause. He's actually you're not helping, you're hurting the cause.
How am I hurting the cause?
You're supporting someone who is making it harder for people to adopt, making it harder for people to be themselves, making it harder for the foster care system, making everything harder, making school harder, making life harder.
You said Trump was a I want you to give me an example of how Trump was a racist.
African country shithole, and as an African, yes, he did. Do not put words in my mouth.
He didn't say that.
No, I'm not talking to you.
So
No. Talk to me. What countries did he call shitholes?
A whole of West Africa, and not to mention the Muslim ban is mostly
There's no Muslim ban.
There's no Muslim ban.
There's no Muslim ban.
So
No. Let me explain. Let me explain something to you.
No,
please. I was respectful and listened to you. Please. Okay. The ban was not on Muslims. It was on people from certain countries. Now those countries had high, but everyone in those countries is not a Muslim. So it wasn't a Muslim ban. It was a ban based on geographical location, not religion.
But you said
one single one of those countries.
the majority Muslim countries weren't even included on that list. If it was a Muslim ban,
Let's go back to the whole countries comment. You said he called some countries shitholes. Let me ask you something. Does most of Africa have running water and plumbing?
Listen to me. As an African, Africa is a developing country. It has some of the top 10 development nations in the whole wide world. We're the richest continent on this planet.
Have you ever been to Congo?
Oh my God.
No, I'm serious. Have you ever been to Congo?
My friends are from Congo, but guess what?
So have you been there?
Yes, I've been there
so
with them.
So you've been to the DRC, so you know that the DRC is by definition
do you know why
exactly
that is?
what he said.
Do you know why
it doesn't matter why. The question was whether or not it was true. And the answer is yes, it was true.
Look how animated she is.
It's just telling
it's
we got
not
mimes
true.
in the
It matters
building.
because do you know what's making? Do you know what coltan is? Do you know what talc is? All those little mineral resources in our phones, makeup, lights, everything comes from Africa. But guess what?
And they can't afford clean water.
oh, come on.
I'm talking. I'm not done. Do not silence me.
You said they were rich.
No.
They could afford clean water if they were rich.
I do have to say, you said you lied about Trump. I am in this.
I'm saying it was true. It's terrible, and we should help them, but they're not developed.
Go to Africa.
I have to say, Joel. I have to say,
I'm the president of an organization called ASA, African Student Association.
So you're not African American?
I am African American.
Are you African or are you African American?
I'm the literal definition of African American.
So are you an American
born
citizen?
in Africa, but I'm an American citizen. So I am an African American.
So then I'm not an African American. Well, I'm not an African American. I'm not.
Do not put words.
See, I'm not an African American. I'm an American. Okay? And I've never been to Africa. I've never been to Africa. And the Africans in Africa sold my ancestors into slaves. Why would I
African-American?
This is disturbing, y'all. For real. Like, I'm trying not to pause, but one of the most disgusting things about this, on top of her attitude and vulgarity and not being able to just have a proper civil debate, it's okay to have your own opinion. It's a beautiful thing about freedom of speech, about God giving us free will. You're entitled the right to share your opinion, to have your own thought process. That's a beautiful thing. So shout out to the young lady for having that. But why is she so animated and so vulgar? And on top of that, everybody else How disrespectful is it that everybody's laughing at him when he speaks like he's some lesser human, like they don't bleed the same color as him? That's what's wrong with society today. Now, have I sided with conservative values and things on the right? Absolutely. Have you sided with different causes and things? Absolutely. But none of us are lesser than each other. We're all one body. We all came from the same ancestors, Adam and Eve.
You are African-American. Don't try to deny that shit.
No.
So why are you then?
Absolutely
He lives in
not.
Why are
America. He's an
European
American.
American? Why don't you guys call white people European Americans?
It's called
That's spicy white.
Why don't you say European Americans?
Why doesn't say African-American?
Joel, if you're not an African American, why am I not called a European American?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're
I'm not an
American.
African American. I'm American. I've never been to Africa.
Would you prefer to be called European-American?
I've traced my ancestry for 8 generations, and we still did not get to Africa in 8 generations.
Damn lie, Uncle Tom. Relax. Hold on.
Here we go with the Uncle Tom comments, and they don't even realize that that's a compliment. Uncle Tom's cabin, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. Do your research on that.
Why would you call him that?
Get the damn
You
microphone
know
in
Uncle
my
Tom
face.
was a hero, right?
Oh, you're not.
Well, you called me an Uncle Tom, so I assumed you would know the story. Uncle Tom was actually a hero who actually died protecting the other slaves that had run away. So you didn't even know that. You thought that was an insult. That's not an insult.
Okay, Uncle Ruckus. Get the shit.
Don't touch my stuff.
Did you say Uncle
get it in my
Ruckus?
face.
Don't
That's
touch
a
my stuff.
fictional character from a cartoon. Think
So
of a real person to call me and we
disrespectful.
can discuss it. That's not a real person.
You know.
It's Black History Month here at the University of Akron, and this is how everybody's
Gotta love
treating a black Trump supporter. Very inclusive, very diverse, very cool and progressive.
So progressive.
I have been stopped on the street with my mom running in my town for someone to call me and tell us that we are niggas and that we should not be there. And then they called us these people.
And that
That's
affected
wrong.
you how? How did that affect your wallet? How did that affect your ability to get a
I'm
job?
sorry, how did
How
that-
did that
That's true,
affect your ability to exist in this country as a free person?
Because it makes you feel unwanted. It makes you feel like no one wants you.
How do you think he feels? Like they only look at it from their side, from this victim mindset, from this oppression that they got. But he's making a valid point. By anybody labeling you with these words and calling you these things, as long as they're not touching you physically, nobody has their foot on your neck. Nobody's holding you down in society. If you want to go out there and succeed, whatever field or position it is, you got to study hard, work hard, sacrifice some time and dedicate yourself to that. Nobody's holding you down, though, just because the color of your skin. We're way past those days. Has everybody sinned in the past? We've all sinned in the past. You know what I'm saying? None of us are perfect. Only Jesus Christ was the only perfect person to ever walk this earth. We all have made mistakes. We all progress from them, hopefully, unless you stay stuck in this past trap mindset. Just because somebody labels you something that's wrong, that's disrespectful on their part, they'll have to face that judgment with God later on down the line. But at the end of the day, just because they call you something, you know, the best way to get that revenge, the best way to get back at them is go succeed. That's how you shock them. Repaying evil with evil, that just makes you even with them. Who wants to get even with a person they don't even like? Repay them back with some good. Say, you know, thank you. And then go out there, grind, show them what you can do, your abilities, and that your color skin tone doesn't matter because you're a person just like them. That's what I think it comes down to. You may disagree. That's cool, but
So it hurt your feelings, okay? But how did that affect?
I'm sorry, wait, you
How
didn't
did-
say it hurt my feelings.
You said it hurt your
did.
feelings.
It makes you feel unwanted, so you don't go out for things. It shows you that you don't have the effort, or you don't have what it takes to go up in this country because
No, it
they don't
doesn't.
want you here. You're not good enough as the
So
white people
why
that are
would you
around
let
us.
somebody that is so stupid that they would say something so ignorant dictate your behavior in any way,
I'm
shape,
not
or
letting
form?
them to take
Because
me,
we
but
are
I'm
the
telling you, that's
president
what
of the
everyone
States doing
thinks.
it.
I'm not talking to
If
you.
that's what everyone thinks, they don't want you to go up in this country. So they don't give you the opportunities
So
that you need.
then you bust your butt and you show them that
That's
you don't
what I
care what
do.
they think,
That's what every
and you
black
become
person in this
successful.
country does.
And I
My
applaud
mother-
that.
My mother was a single mother, worked 3 jobs my whole life
Exactly.
to get me where I am now. And you
And cannot stop
yes,
you.
it does.
No,
because
it does
she doesn't
not
get the
stop you.
opportunities she needs. My mom worked her ass to get a manager position in a hospital. She has her master's degree, and she's
She
going out
worked
for her
hard.
doctorate because not only did other people tell her that she shouldn't do it, but she knew herself that she should without getting the opportunities that she wanted herself. So she did go out and bust her.
she's making the point. People labeled her mom and told her she couldn't do this, but she knew what she had to do to take care of her family, to provide, to give them the best chance possible to succeed. And guess what? She did it. So just because somebody calls you this, that, and the third, that just reveals their character. That's not going to hold you down. If anything, that should fuel you and give you the motivation to go out there and get it even more, to shine even more on them. And it doesn't make sense.
But
So
that
you're
does not
telling me-
mean, that does not mean that everyone didn't put her down along the way.
But they didn't stop her, and that's what
Exactly.
I'm saying.
But she
Racism is
46
not
and
a
just
significant
now getting to
issue
where she
enough
is.
to stop you.
Are you what?
It's not
So
gonna
you're
stop
saying
you.
50 years. She has gone out for 50 years. That has not stopped her.
It hasn't stopped her. You said she's
What
still
kind of
going.
What person are you? So you're telling me you have not gone
Am I
through
not
racism.
black enough now?
You're telling me you have not gone through any racism.
on your side.
You didn't say that. None. You've never gone through
I said I'm
anything.
not an African American. I didn't say I wasn't black.
So what the f*** are you?
I'm an American.
No, you're an
human.
Okay. No. The argument. I'm sorry. That was my red herring that time.
I just want to say that.
So the issue is, you said that was significant enough in America to stop you from being whatever you can be, and it's not. It's not. Do you want me to tell you something? When I started my company, I have a company with 150 employees. We gross millions of dollars a year, and we cut trees down.
If you have your own company as an American man, I won't even call you an
Call
African
me a black
man.
man.
You're a black man. Do you try and put more effort into employing more African Americans than white males?
I actually employ a lot of Mexicans.
Okay, so do you try and go out your way to employ more people that you feel are underrepresented in the country?
No, I employ people that I believe will do the best job.
Facts.
It's to employ people
Gets it
based
done.
on their skin color.
It's not, because you definitely just told me that America does not try to put down people who you don't think has the ability to do certain jobs.
I didn't say that, but I believe that there's no better country to be a person of color than America. And if you find a better country, I would love to hear about it.
I can tell you that there's many countries, Canada. You can go into multiple multilingual.
So why are there more black millionaires in the United States than in Canada?
What? I don't know.
Huh. I wonder
You
why.
can definitely.
No, even percentage of the population. Yeah.
I'm just telling you that it is very hard to go up in America, being not of the white race.
But what I'm saying is, just because somebody says something rude to you, like calls you the N-word, that does not affect your ability to make money.
It affects everyone else's
mentally it does.
mindset. That's
When you go
everyone
through
else's
depression,
mindset.
that affects you. Going through depression affects you.
I didn't say depression doesn't
But that
affect
can
you.
affect
But
you.
I'm saying it's not going to stop your ability to
How is
make
that
money
not
in the
gonna
United
stop
States.
you?
The thing is, if that's what one person, no, you're not giving
Okay,
up.
but not everyone-
But if that's what one person thinks about you, that's what multiple people think
Exactly.
about you.
That's
and
not
it's hard
true.
to be
America is not a more country today than it was 50 years ago. America is the least that it's ever been at any point in history, and is more or less dead, and the only people that keep it alive because they want to make money off of it.
By talking about
Okay.
it. You want to stop the racism? Stop talking about it. Simple. Nobody is stopping you from going out and reaching the goals that you have. Nobody said life is going to be easy. Jesus said each day is going to have enough troubles of its own. So you're expecting this easy coast to freedom and to happiness and to success. It's not going to happen. People are going to label you. People are going to say things. People are going to be envious and jealous along the way. Non-God-fearing people. Again, they got to face that judgment and pay the piper whenever their time comes. But you got to focus on the task at hand, being the best person you could be and repaying those evils with good by doing good in the world, by loving others and not allowing people to try to hold you down. Nobody's stopping you. Your mom succeeded. You can succeed. This man succeeded. Stop looking at people as a color skin tone. The amount of melanin in your skin is irrelevant at the end of the day. You don't hire people based on what they look like, what language they speak. Well, you might hire them based on what language they speak because customer service, you got to be able to relay the proper messages and handle people how they need to be, taken care of. But at the end of the day, you hire the best person for the job, who's the most capable, who's the most disciplined, who's willing to grind it out more than the next man or woman. It doesn't matter what they look like. Stop pushing this false rhetoric. I'm tired of it.
I'm confused. So you're saying
I know you're
is only
confused.
around to make money? That's it?
People keep racism around today to make money. Yes.
How is that it?
How does
The
the
media.
media not pit us against each other? They tell us that the
Yeah.
police are killing us. When you look at statistics, it's not true.
That's if people do their research, and that's right. But
Really? Tell me how many people were shot and
Oh,
killed
here
by
we
the
go.
police in 2017.
No, but the problem is, I have experienced
9 unarmed
discrimination by the
people.
police.
And explain it to me. Explain your situation.
I've been in cuffs 3 times and committed 0 crimes.
African-American
Discrimination.
males are
I've literally been.
So they came over and they were like, you know what? There's a black man walking. Let me arrest him.
Correct.
3 times where you were completely innocent on all 3 times. Like you didn't put yourself in the wrong scenario around the wrong people to be in that situation. Did they arrest you or did they just put you in cuffs for the time being? Please break it down for us so we understand the full context. Don't label all police officers as racist based on. Oh man, we got to isolate these situations. I love right here how this man is standing his ground and he knows the truth and he's able to back it up with facts. He's very brave, very intelligent, and he's an American. That's what I love. I'm not sure if he's a God-fearing man, but I respect his patriotism to say the very least. And I like how he's respectable. He's allowing these people to speak. He's not getting super animated, lashing back these slurs and
That was robbed. The description was a black male that was 6'1" with long hair. I don't have that long of hair. I got arrested. was in cuffs for 2 hours. 2 hours. Had to have all my information like decided, like ran and everything. And then after 2 hours, they finally figured out I wasn't 6'1" when I'm 5'10". Yes.
And that's because of.
Yes. Yes.
They were doing their job.
Try me. Try me.
So it wasn't because you fit the description of the other person.
No, I didn't fit the description. I'm not 6'1". I don't have long hair.
3-inch difference.
It's black. It's because I'm black.
So
that's the second time that was happened.
That was your experience.
Second time.
That was your experience. That was your experience. My experience is
I've experienced a lot of racial discrimination.
I was pulled over 14 times in the last year.
Yeah. And how many times were you in cuffs?
Not a single time.
So
I was in it for one. For a speeding
followed
violation.
the command, I bet.
Speeding.
A speeding violation, yeah.
15 times for speeding.
I'm not even gonna lie. I sped 15 miles over the speed limit in 2018. Sat in cuffs for an hour while they checked my car. 100%.
And that's
what do you explain?
and that's purely because of racism.
What do you think that is?
And how does that stop you? How does that stop you?
Speeding. That's what started it.
What do you think it is? Like,
So, do you want me to explain it to you?
Yeah. What do you think it was?
Okay, so this is, you're not going to be happy about this, but 55% of violent crimes are committed by African American males.
And so why should I be in handcuffs for committing a traffic violation?
You shouldn't. So I don't know this situation, but I seriously doubt it was just because you committed a traffic violation.
So is that why black male?
So he should
black
all
male.
cuffs for traffic
I've been pulled over 50. I just told you how many times I was pulled over. I've never once been put in cuffs.
So
and I'm a black man.
Is that why every black male is taught from a young age to keep their hands on the steering wheel and don't move a single inch until they come up to your window?
Do you know what the statistics are for the number of African American police officers?
Is that why? Is that why every young male is taught to keep their hands facing forward as a young age? Am I wrong?
I really don't know.
Am I wrong?
Hang on. One at a time.
I'm genuinely asking you.
What is the statistic?
I'm going to answer your questions one at a time. Can you repeat your question?
Is that why every young male
What is it?
is taught to keep their hands on the steering wheel and don't move an inch until they get to your car?
Everyone should be taught that. You should always keep your
But is
hands on
that
the
why
steering wheel.
specifically?
Because statistically, we've been told that the police are more likely to shoot us because we've believed a lie that police brutality is this major issue affecting the black community.
Okay.
It happens.
Profiling happens. Profiling happens. It's the job of a police officer to profile.
But racially,
For your safety.
Racially profiled.
I didn't say racially. I said to profile.
So I
See how they twist the words?
So if I commit a traffic
Evil, man.
violation,
If
I commit a
all right, I'll give you an example right
violation,
now. Right now,
completely
do you know who I'm
cooperate,
most
I
threatened
should
by right now of this group of people? It's you, because of your body language, not because of your skin color.
What part of his body language?
Where's my body?
feels
Because he's folding his arm and he keeps stepping up to me and he said to try it.
This is what I'm talking about.
But you kept saying try me, and you got in my face. I was genuinely intimidated. I was like, he's acting like he wants to
I'm
go
an
in.
intimidating person. Multiple people know me here. Know I'm not a very intimidating person.
And it's literally 30
I didn't say you were an intimidating person, but I said your behavior is the most intimidating of anybody that's
I'm
around
doing
you.
the exact same
That's
thing.
because the thing is you're denying the facts. I'm just saying you're denying
We're all
the facts.
doing this. We're
You
literally
can't-
all
you
doing
can't
this.
I'm not
What
intimidated by
facts
you.
have they
Okay,
delivered?
but it's still 35 degrees out.
Okay, I do have to say one
So
thing
we're all having
about
the
you
same
saying
conversation.
that you're American, just American, right?
Yeah.
So you're technically African American because the definition of being African American is because you don't know your origin of where your people come from in Africa. So you
My people come from America.
No, okay.
Where do you think your ancestors come
no,
from?
your ancestors.
They came from America.
Okay, but before that, how far can you trace back your heritage?
I think I'm
To Adam and
39%
Eve,
English, so they
where you came from, too.
England.
Okay, what
What
about
do you
what
think?
about the
How do
other
you think they've
percentage?
gotten to
I think I'm 15% Native American, so they also came from America.
Okay, and then the rest.
And whatever percent black I am, they probably came from some country in Africa.
And that's why you would identify.
But why would I not identify as English American
no,
or
but you
Indian
know
American?
why most African Americans identify as African American? Because most of their heritage comes from Africa. So since they cannot identify what part of Africa they come from, they identify as African American as a whole. Now me, I know exactly what part I come from in Africa. I'm Kenyan-American. That's what I identify as because I actually know my origin. But you can't just diss that part of yourself. And I'm not telling you to diss the Native American part or the English part of yourself, right?
Wait, why would you think I diss my being black?
No, I'm not trying to say that you are.
American.
But you're just like
But I've never been to Africa. Why would I call myself an African American?
So do you just consider yourself to be black?
I consider myself to be a black American.
Okay.
Because I feel like terms like hyphenated terms like African American divide Americans.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I was robbed of my identity. My ancestors were robbed of their identity. I have ancestors that were slaves.
That everyone else
I know the name of some of my ancestors that were slaves.
And that should not affect you in any way, shape, or form.
I'm the fourth generation of my name.
Because that does not define you.
Now you're talking about the ancestors that possibly sold you. Your same ancestors that possibly sold you to come here. Your African ancestors that sold you. I'm part West African. What bearing does that have on how I operate day to day? What effect does that have? Why would I identify as African American, Kenyan-American, and not my name? My name is Devin Gibson. I do in fact live in America. So my name is Devin Gibson. I'm an American, not an American, not an African American, not an Irish American. Why would I? We all have little bits and percentages of different ethnicities. Why does it matter? It doesn't. We all originate from the same ancestors, the same two, man and woman, Adam and Eve, which were created in the image of God, created from the dust of the ground. Why? How far you want to go back? You can only you can trace it as far back as you want, and it all amounts to the same people. We all came from the same people. Men, women. You can't change that. That's all there is. You should identify as who you are as a person, how you display your moral values every single day, how you are as a person, how you operate, how you love and care for each other, how you lift up society, not based on the color skin tone you are or what ethnicity you originated from. What your ancestors were robbed of their identity. Everybody has a past. We all came from it. Your ancestors, not knowing their name or where they came from or whatever it may be, what they endured, what bearing does that have on from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep? Is anybody holding you down based on your ancestors? Absolutely not. Quiet that rhetoric down. Stop buying into this victim oppression mentality because it's not real. It doesn't exist. And people are profiting on it day in and day out, talking about it in the media, keeping this thing alive. Start talking about what can you do to aid in society? What can you do to help out the next fellow man or woman to elevate? How can you not get even with everybody? Not how can you make things right? Because things are never going to be made right in your eyes. Right in your eyes isn't right in God's eyes all the time. What you deem as fair and what all the things that you can fathom doesn't mean God can fathom those things. Doesn't mean God agrees with you. God makes all things right and he works all things together for the greater good. So we all have selfish tendencies. What do you want? Reparations? Absolutely not. It's ridiculous.
You're not defined by your past.
But you're
that you never experienced.
Unless you allow your
But then how can you
You ain't go through none of that.
English American, that's your past.
How can I identify as American? Because this is America, and it's the greatest country on planet Earth.
Talk to him.
That's not what you said.
He said, "How can I identify as American and not black?"
It's your past. You said that's
No, that's my present. I was
Stop
born in
living
America.
back there.
I live in America.
But that's your past.
That's my present.
That's your past.
I'm currently living in America.
You were born past tense in America.
It don't matter.
No. You were never a slave. Okay, you never experienced slavery. So I'm saying you can't. That is like your. That's not even your past. That's the past.
That's not your family's past.
So saying you identify with your history is different than saying you identify with your past because you never experienced slavery. No one you've ever met has ever experienced
slavery.
slavery.
Africa. Why would I say I identify with slavery?
But that's what you're saying when you say that African
I
American.
said I'm Kenyan-American.
I don't identify
not
as a
African
slave. I just
American.
identify that I
So
come
then why
from,
did you say it bothered you that-
Wait, let me finish.
that was part
I
of your
identify that
heritage.
I come from the continent of Africa, and I'm just robbed of the specific area that my heritage comes from.
What was taken from you?
That's
He
what I'm
doesn't
saying when I'm
want
saying that I'm
this part of
African
his
American.
heritage, part
I
of his
can't
history.
identify with a specific culture like many other people that were
You
able
can.
to
You
have
can
that
identify
are
with
able to
American
go
culture.
through their
That's
not-
ancestral
but that's
tree
not-
and go find that. I
There's
can't
no
find
American
that.
culture?
America's
My
a melting pot.
ancestral tree cuts off.
People that have this mindset that think that slavery affects them in this present day, it doesn't. He had a nice plaid long sleeve out there in the cold with a hoodie. He wasn't out there in the cotton field. He wasn't out there getting beat. He wasn't out there doing any of that stuff. Did it happen to his ancestors? That's very likely it did. Did it happen to mine or yours? Very likely it could have. But is it happening now? Is anybody holding you down? Is anybody beating you? Is anybody forcing you to go out there and do this, do that? Absolutely not. So what are you doing holding on to this past rhetoric? The rear view mirrors are a whole lot smaller than the front windshield in a vehicle for a reason. You're supposed to keep your eyes forward on what you can control right now. The past has no bearing. You can't change it. You can't do anything about it whatsoever. As sad as that may make you, it is what it is. That's just how it is. We're on the right side of the grass right now. We're all going to die at the end of the day. We all bleed red. We're blessed to be here right now. Do what you can today. That's what counts. What happened yesterday, what happened 5 minutes ago, 500 years ago is irrelevant. Jesus took on the cross for all the evil, for all the sin, for all the sickness, depression, anxiety, unfairness, whatever you deem it as, Jesus took that all on the cross. So you think you got it bad? Look at Jesus. That should be your savior. That should be your focus. Now I'm going to take a different approach because it's easy to bash and belittle and people push people into the corners and say, you're on this side, you're automatically this, you're automatically that. But if you're a conservative and label a liberal as evil and going to hell, if they're confused, then aren't they the mission field? Aren't those the same people we're called as Christ followers to evangelize and as one body to do our best to save their souls through love and the truth of our Savior, Jesus Christ? Same if you're on the left side. If you label conservatives, Republicans, white people, black people, whatever it may be, if you label them as bad and going to hell based on what society's told you or the past has told you, then aren't they the mission field? If they're confused and they're lost in their ways, then aren't you the same person that claims to know Jesus? Aren't those lost souls the people you're supposed to be reaching out to save? But we've lost that sight because we've become way more divided and do a whole lot more alienating than uniting, especially since 2020, 2021. And we've missed out on tons of opportunities to bring people to the kingdom. All these culture wars that are going on, we've forgotten the one thing that Jesus Christ was most concerned about, and that's unity. Not some fancy, let's sing Kumbaya sort of slogan. I'm talking about a real bond that these worldly thinking things, that those can't break. Nothing on TV, nothing that your favorite actor or musician or any person, nothing can break that when you have real unity and real love. And that starts with loving God and loving people. Just like my hoodie says, that's not just some fancy put on a shirt sort of thing. That's what we need to draw our focus towards and start moving in as we go forward in society. And I know some of y'all may have already left this video and that's perfectly okay, but if you're still here, I encourage you to stay. I got to dish out some biblical soul food. That's what I feel like I was called here to do. Again, I didn't grow up this way, but this changed my life. The gospel, the truth, the foundation that is in Jesus Christ. This is where we should all be directing our attention. I'm going to jump over to Philippians 2 verses 14 through 18. I'm reading the ESV version. You can read whatever version you want. But it says, do all things without grumbling or disputing, that you may be blameless and innocent children of God without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world, holding fast to the word of life, so that in the day of Christ I may be proud that I did not run in vain or labor in vain. Even if I am to be poured out as a drink offering upon the sacrificial offering of your faith, I am glad and rejoice with you all. Likewise, you also should be glad and rejoice with me. So someday, one way or another, whether you like it or not, all people will have to admit that Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior, and they'll have to submit to him. And that's what Paul's talking about in Philippians. He wants believers to live with contentment and unity without complaining. So although at times it's extremely difficult, and for myself as well, because comments are flying at me left and right all the time as a creator, and we have to stand firm and speak the truth of the gospel and season our speech with love and compassion, which I know is very difficult, but especially even those people we despise, we still got to pray for them, and we got to stop looking right and looking left, and we need to start looking up, because if you're wrong about Jesus, it doesn't matter what you're right about. Now, if you're still here, first off, thank you. Comment your thoughts below. I want to hear what you think about this. Let's keep this conversation rolling. Were you sickened by what you saw, or did you see it as an opportunity for all the people that are lost and confused and don't know what's going on to go out there and save those people, to go out there and bring them together and let them know, like, no, you're not oppressed. This world isn't out to get you. You can find peace and salvation and true satisfaction and gratification when you look to the Lord Jesus Christ, when you realize that no matter what your ancestors went through, he took on the cross for all that, for all the imperfections in the world. When you look to him, when you're in Jesus Christ, you are saved, and all the sin that has happened in the past, all the hurt and anxiety, animosity that's happened, you don't have to go through that anymore. You're walking a new path. You're walking with Jesus Christ. So whatever y'all think down below, let me know. Let's try to be civil. Let's be respectful like the young man in the video was. Shout out to him. Shout out to Liberty Hangout again. If you like these sort of videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you stay up to date on all my videos. Share this video whether you agree or disagree with my take on it. And if you want to support the channel, you can tap that thanks button down below. It has a little heart next to it. You can buy me a coffee, donate on PayPal, join the Patreon family. You don't got to do any of that stuff at all. Just showing up. I appreciate the viewership, the friendship, or whatever we've developed in this time since I've been on your screen. Outside of that, all my links are down below as far as products I use, brands that support me, make these sort of videos possible. My email's linked down below if you got business opportunities, you need prayer, hate email, whatever it may be, Devin@devgibson.com. But until next time, I love y'all. I'm praying for you. Godspeed. I'm gone.